This is Module 2. What is Lean? And this is really an expansion and development of the topics that were introduced uh, in the first module. Okay, so Lean really is the development of maximum customer value. Lean deals with the elimination or the reduction of many types of what we call non-value added activities. And really, this is just another name for waste. And so the driving force for waste elimination is to improve the value that we're going to give to our products and services and what customers want to buy. We actually break out waste or look to discover it in 8 different ways, and this helps us to break things down so we can find them piece by piece. And the first one is we're looking for defects. Then we look for overproduction. We look at any places where we're waiting on things. What about non-value added processing, people doing extra things that aren't required? Transportation, wherever we're moving stuff around, we'll be real careful to make sure it's absolutely essential and we do the minimum amount of transporting of materials. And then we do not want to accumulate inventories. We want to keep material and goods flowing at all times. And of course, then the issue that we want to look at is how people move around. And so motion is the 7th waste, and really the greatest waste of all is missing employee engagement. So all of this is an acronym that spells downtime, which will help you and your workers to know what the wastes we're looking for and to remember them as they're doing the work. Let's think about the nature of each waste just a little bit, just so we can kind of work them into our hearts and souls. The first is defects. This is purely and simply a flaw in the product or service, or not really meeting the specification that the customer or the market has in mind. Overproduction leads to all kinds of other waste, but essentially it's producing more than what's required. And the mentality is I'm producing something just in case it's needed. Or, even more, I'm producing it because I want to keep the unit cost down. I know we can need it and use it later. Waiting waste. This is where you just have plain and simple operators waiting around, or equipment waiting for material to show up or somebody to say it's okay to go. There's another form of waiting, and it's sort of half-stepping. Operators are going slower than what they really can, or the production flow is slower than what it really can be, and so we look for that kind of thing too. And we have non-value added processing. That's doing more than what is required, or it's adding on more than the customer is willing to pay for. Transportation, that is moving stuff around. We're taking things in and out of storage, or we're moving materials between work centers. There's a lot of that goes on in most processes, and it's a real opportunity for savings. Inventory. Whenever we produce more than what's being used in the process flow ongoing, then we have to start managing inventory. We have to bring the excess inventory out or stack it up. And then when we want to bring it back, we have to rehandle it again and bring it into our process. And many times this moving around will spoil material, damage it, or we have cases where even the inventory goes obsolete while it's sitting waiting to be processed. Motion. This is about people. It's where people moving around, and we have a lot of this with double handling materials, a double handling product. We have non-standard layouts. It's kind of like people making it up as they go along, or this one is doing it one way and someone else is doing it another way. And of course, the real thing we want to look for is bad ergonomics, that we're going to harm someone through the way that they're working and the way they're extending themselves, those kind of things. And finally, the worst waste of all is missing employee engagement, where people are not really engaged in their work because for some reason they don't feel that's required or that's needed. What we really want is to be developing our frontline workers. We want to be trying to get their ideas out and figure out how to get them worked in. And then, of course, we want to respect them and having an expectation that they are to contribute. How do we correct these wastes? Think about defects. We want to develop the production process to prevent defects at the source. We don't want to do inspection at the end. We want to build it in as we go. Each process, we want to produce no defects, and we need to design our processes to be mistake proof or error proof, and build some kind of fail-safe in to assure that we're only going to produce good products. From a quality process comes a quality product, and we need to make this happen automatically. Overproduction. We eliminate overproduction by reducing setup time, synchronizing quantities, and timing between our processes. We can compact the layouts. We can usually get some big benefit. And so we want to make only what is necessary to keep the work flowing. One-to-one flow is the best type of production. What about waiting waste? We want to eliminate this through synchronizing work and approvals as much as possible and balancing these uneven loads by having some sort of flexibility in our process, or with our ability to move people in and out, our equipment in and out as needed. We want to get rid of this non-value added processing, and we just constantly have to ask questions. Is this really required? Is this essential to the process? Does the customer see that this is part of the process and they saw us? Would they pay for this? Okay. Transportation, that is, again, moving stuff around. We need to study our process for any extra movement of materials and supplies, and of course we want consistent ways for things to happen. We know that if we can do this, then the economy of our productivity and our consistency improves, and so the economy improves productivity, and consistency improves our quality. So we first improve the motions, then mechanize or automate. Otherwise, if we try to automate and speed things up, we're just automating waste making. What about inventory? We want to reduce our inventory by shortening setup times and lead times and synchronizing workflows. And of course, a big way to do that is even with improving work skills of our producers, our folks on the front line. Motion. So we want to first look at the ergonomics, make sure we're not doing any harm. And usually when we can get people working in a good ergonomic fashion, they're actually smoother and can produce more and eliminate a lot of the tiring things like walking around and traveling so much. Employee engagement. When this is a terrible thing, that so many people have so much in their heads and their hearts that they can contribute if we just ask them to. And so what we want to really do is turn our idea system, our ideas into a real system. And so we have a constant flow of ideas that we're considering and putting into play. So we just simply need to ask people what they think and act on these things. Let's talk about overburdening the process of a non-capable process to meet good production under demand. That is another situation that leads to all sorts of waste. And then this unevenness. We have surges and we have lulls in our production demand. So we need to, at some point when things are starting to stabilize and all, look at how we can even out our process flow by affecting demand and trying to get rid of the surges, or definitely coming up with countermeasures so that we can handle whatever surges might come along efficiently. Let's talk about the waste of complexity, and that is some of our, as time goes, processes tend to get more complex. This is really an opportunity. We can look at things and figure out how to simplify and to reduce the number of steps, the number of pieces and parts, and so forth. And usually, the more complicated a process is, the more non-value added activity it has within it. Okay, so now we want to talk about some very specific situations, and just to show you that we can take this even further. There are additional ways when you're particularly focused on a make-it kind of activity or manufacturing. You can have wasted power energy as things sit and run and they're not being used. You can have a wasted human potential, again, not getting the ideas out. You can have environmental pollution, which is waste in so many cases we're not efficient, so we're producing extra stuff that's getting into the environment, and then somewhere along the way we've got to start cleaning that stuff up. We have unnecessary overhead that tends to accumulate over time. We can have poor design or inappropriate design that is just not efficient to make and to handle and to manufacture. And we can have departmental culture that is what we call stovepiped or separated, so it doesn't flow well. It interrupts, or we have transfers and handoffs, and those kinds of things are always inefficient. And of course, then we can have missing information or wrong information or late information, and that's a big situation that's regularly in our processes. What about warehousing and distribution? Here again, I've got a double handful of items here just to think about, to show you that we can really start finding and making our processes better. We do things too early, or we wait or delay. We move things around, or conveyance, we think of it in warehousing business. We have inappropriate processing, either too early, too late, or out of sequence, and undo things that we did because that we haven't thought about them properly and designed our processes to be efficient. Have unnecessary inventories, unnecessary ergonomics, discrepancies, which really just means errors, but typically we think of those in accounting and in inventory management. Now again, power and energy problems. We can have the missed human potential. We can have excessive packaging and other environmental kinds of. You actually think of this as pollution. Think of it, extra packaging is extra waste that's going to occur somewhere in the process, even if it's all the way to the customer, throwing things away. Unnecessary overhead, including just training to check something off rather than meaningful training. And of course, our layout can be poor. Let's think about something called the lean house. This actually gives us a visual of the different types of things that we can do, or that we should be doing, as we work through getting our processes more and more lean. And you'll see this, and so this helps to show sort of preset approaches to how you can work through common process problems. And so we call this lean house. VSM is we do a value stream mapping exercise to get clarity on our value streams, and then we start applying each of these other tools to positively affect our process by helping flow or getting rid of waste. And that's, you commonly hear about 5S, visual management, looking at our plant layout, particularly in manufacturing sub-cells. We standardize our work. We reduce batches to what's so typical in traditional manufacturing. We like to get the one-to-one flow. We work in teams and value stream teams that see the whole picture. We build quality in at the source. We don't inspect. We do point-of-use storage. We do quick changeover. We do pull and Kanban type scheduling. Kanban is just a word that's commonly used in Lean just to mean a visual signal. We want signals to tell us when to go to work or when to move something. And then again, we're looking for cellular and flow, and TPM is total productive maintenance. And this is all worked by this continuous attitude of process improvement. So we call that a Kaizen consciousness. So first we stabilize and then we improve. Lean has this rich and proven set of tools, and this house kind of keeps all these ideas in front of us as we're working through our processes.